Hello students, a very good morning. So students, in last class we were discussing about the excess pressure and we have discussed up to the topic of what is surface energy and what is excess pressure and how we are getting the concept of excess pressure in the case of curved surface. So whenever the curved meniscus is formed somewhere in fluid, then that time excess pressure is working, and what will be the value of excess pressure we were calculating in last class. So here some concept in the excess pressure inside a liquid drop we have discussed, and half of the concept we have left. So let's complete that first one. So as while discussing that concept, we have taken a liquid, and in that liquid you have understood already why there is a need of excess pressure here. So this excess pressure, that direction is this one, and due to this excess pressure, the change in radius that occurred, that was delta R. So we have calculated value up to the increase in area of the drop. So let me just write it again as while increasing this delta R, this force due to the pressure that has to do some work. So what will be the work here? So work done is given by, that is force into displacement. So force into here, displacement is what? Displacement is done in the direction of force, that is delta R. And force can be written as pressure into area. So if excess pressure is P, area of surface area of this spherical bubble, obviously that will be 4 pi r square. So this will be 4 pi r square, and this is now delta R. So this is the value of work done here in this case. Now here we can see due to this excess pressure, the area of this liquid drop, that is changed. So what is changed in the area, we can calculate that one, or increase in surface area. So increase in surface area, suppose that is delta A. So delta A will be the new surface area minus old surface area or previous surface area. So new surface area is what? That is 4 pi. Radius is R plus now delta R whole square, because previous radius we have taken it R, and this will be R, this will be delta R, then R plus delta R is the new radius, and its surface area will be this one. Now previous area, that is the area of surface area of this one, that is obviously equal to 4 pi R square. So let's open this one. 4 pi R square plus 4 pi delta R whole square formula you have to apply here. This will be 8 pi R delta R minus of 4 pi R square. So this 4 pi R square, that will be cancelled out from here, and here delta R has this increase in surface area, that is very small, and if we will take the square of very small quantity, then that will be also much smaller than the previous one. It means that we can neglect this portion due to smaller value of R or negligible value of delta R whole square. So if we will neglect this one, then only this term we will get, and that term is now 8 pi R delta R. So this is the value of increase in surface area now. So increase in surface area, that is equal to, or increase in potential energy exactly. Just now before this one, the surface energy concepts we have discussed. So surface energy is given by, increase in area into surface tension. So E is equal to S delta A. That concept we have studied before. So let's write that one, and let's write these values also in that equation. We can find out easily what will be the value of excess pressure. So according to that concept, in the potential energy, and here potential energy is obtaining due to the work done by the excess pressure to increase this area or radius delta R. So it means W should be equal to delta A, change increase in area, into surface tension that is working inside this liquid drop. So if we will write the value of this one, so its value is obtained as P into 4 pi R square into delta R, and A is 8 pi delta R into S here. So from here you can see 4 pi, this will be 2. R, one of the R will be cancelled out from here, delta R is cancelled out. So finally if you will calculate P, its value is obtained as 2S upon R. So this is now the value of, this is the expression for the excess pressure inside any liquid drop. So the water molecule, that's for that kind of system where only one surface film is forming, then for that one excess pressure will be always 2s pi r. Here you can see this excess pressure is directly proportional to the surface tension and it is inversely proportional to the radius. Means less will be, smaller will be the drop, greater will be the excess pressure inside that one, and if greater will be the drop or greater radius of drop we have, then that have a smaller excess pressure there. So first one is I think clear. Now let's see after this topic what will be the excess pressure inside a soap bubble now. So why a soap bubble is a special case actually. In the soap bubble we are obtaining two surface. Like in other liquid we are obtaining only one surface. In soap bubble we are obtaining two surface. That's why everywhere we are seeing this one. And this is becoming a special case for us while studying the surface tension or later or any liquid property when we will discuss. So again in the case of soap bubble, now consider a soap bubble that has radius capital R. Next one, the molecule lying on the surface of liquid bubble will experience a resultant force acting inward perpendicular to the surface due to surface tension. So since the rise in the soap bubble cannot be reduced to zero, so here number of times this concept is same whether it is soap bubble, whether it is liquid drop. So as you know, every drop that has tendency to minimize its surface area due to the property of surface tension. So as it has property of surface tension, and due to that an inward perpendicular force will act, and as that inward force will continue to act, then its radius must be 0 at a time. But as the radius will be 0, then existence of molecule or system that will be you can say that existence is not possible. So to adjust them force in opposite direction that need to be present here, and that is given by the excess pressure. So excess pressure that is acting in outward direction in opposition of the surface tension. So this excess pressure we have to calculate now. Suppose due to excess pressure the reduced area that is increased now, and there is an increase in the radius delta r through the pressure now. So suppose as is the now surface tension of the liquid and or soap bubble, P0 is atmospheric pressure, Pi is total pressure inside the soap bubble. So excess pressure will be obviously equal to P inside minus P0, because without excess pressure everywhere the pressure is equal to atmospheric pressure, but inside we are obtaining some excess pressure due to the presence of surface tension. In opposition of that some excess pressure is needed there, and that's why this excess pressure will be equal to here equal to inside pressure minus outside pressure. So that is our value of excess pressure. Now next one, after this one, as due to this one there is increase in radius delta r, so we can calculate the work to increase this radius delta r here. So work will be obviously equal to force into displacement. Displacement is delta r. Force is equal to pressure into surface area. So pressure is P. Surface area is again 4 pi r square, and this will be now delta r. So first this thing is now clear. Now after this one, as the surface area of the soap bubble is increased, so we can find out now the effective increase in surface area. So effective increase in surface area in this case it should be 2 times, because the soap bubble has 2 layers. So every layer will be extended in outward direction. So both layer will get increment in surface area. That's why we will calculate the surface area, and as both layers have same radius and they will be increased by the same radius, so that's why we can write here 2 times. Or if they are of they cannot be of opposite one, that if the radii of the soap bubbles of 2 layers are changed, then that time A1 plus A2 that you can do to find out the surface increase in the surface area. So I think this is clear. So we have what we have to do here. We have to calculate again change in surface area. So change in surface area obviously that will be equal to the new surface area minus the previous surface area. So new surface area that will be now 4 pi r plus delta r, because now the radius, new radius becomes r plus delta r minus previous one 4 pi r square. Now if we will solve this one again by the previous method, so again you can expand this one, and after expansion 4 pi r square will be cancelled out and delta r square that can be neglected. So it is obtained as 8 pi r delta r, just like before we have done this one in the case of liquid drop. So it becomes now 16 pi r delta r from here. Now after this one, as we know, the work done to increase the area, that is equal to surface energy. So this work done should be equal to surface energy, and the surface energy that you know equal to surface tension into change in area. So this is now the change in area. Let's write the value and solve this one. So here I am solving. So P into 4 pi r square into delta r, and this side S into delta A we have, that is 16 pi r into delta r. So let the factor that is cancelled out, this one here it should be 8, this pi is cancelled out, delta r is cancelled out, one of the r is cancelled out. So finally P is obtained as 4 from here, sorry here not 8, 4 should be here. So 4s by r from here. So this is our value of excess pressure that is obtained in the case of soap bubble. So you can see now, due to 2 layers of the soap bubble, the excess pressure is obtained as double than the before. So here the pressure becomes double than the other liquid in the case of soap bubble. So students, I think these two things are now clear. So in the case of any soap bubble or in the case of any liquid drop, what is the excess pressure, that is clear. Now the third case is excess pressure inside the air bubble. So air bubble is also behaving like the liquid drop. So the excess pressure inside the air bubble, that will be also equal to 2s pi r. So I think 3 cases that are clear for the excess pressure. 3 types of drops that are possible. One of single layer, second of 2 layers, and third is for the air bubble. So in all the cases we have calculated what is the value of now excess pressure. After this one, let's see some important conclusions of this discussion. So the first conclusion of this discussion is, when an air bubble of radius small r is at depth h below the free surface of liquid of density rho and surface tension s. So suppose we have any of the liquid. In this liquid, any of the bubble that is contained, and this is now h height below in the liquid. So this here its radii is given, that is equal to small r. So what is the value of excess pressure that is obtained by this one? That will be equal to P is equal to Pi minus P0, and this is equal to now first 2s by r. This excess pressure is obtained because of its own criteria of surface tension, but here due to depth, you know, whenever some of the bodies that is immersed in the liquid up to some depth, and that time due to gauge pressure, due to her depth, there is a variation in pressure, and that variation in pressure is equal to h rho g, where rho is the density of this liquid at the depth up to this one value. So this is now the value of here pressure in the first case, where our liquid drop or our here drop is below some depth to the liquid. Second one, if R1 and R2 are the radii of curved liquid surfaces and the curvatures are in the same direction, then the excess pressure inside the liquid surface, that is given by. So in this case of liquid surface, as you will see, that is obtained here. This is equal to here 2s 1 upon R1 plus 1 upon R2. So in this way here it means that, here 2s should not be, means if we have suppose two radii R1 and R2 that are of curved surface, then due to one curved surface the excess pressure is s by R1, due to other one it is s by R2. And if the excess pressure the radii is same, you will keep R1 is equal to R2 is equal to R, then it is obtained as the pressure of the liquid, that is 2s by R from there. So these are now the conclusions that we have done by using the concept that we have studied up to now. After this one, let's see now the next concept of this chapter, and that is the concept of angle of contact. So let's see that one. So next topic is angle of contact. So let's see it now. So what is now first angle of contact? So in general, the surface of liquid near to the plane of contact with another medium that you have seen curve. Whenever you are keeping some of the liquid, then that time it is just making some of the curve near the plane. So the angle that is formed by that curve is known as angle of contact, or you can define it. The angle of contact between a liquid and solid in contact is defined as the angle enclosed between the tangents to the liquid surface at the point of contact and the solid surface inside the liquid here. So that is, I think, now correct. Now after this one, if you will see, we are denoting the angle of contact by obviously theta, and now if you will see the theta, that is different in interfaces in different pairs of liquid and solid. Means if the solid is different or liquid is different, that time it becomes different. Suppose your solid surface over which you are putting the liquid, that is of wood, you are putting the liquid water, then that time it will be different than when you are choosing the solid as glass and you are putting the water. Or if you are using wood, you are keeping mercury on it, then that time also it will be different. Means whether the liquid is different or solid is different, angle of contact will change. So you can see now angle of contact is becoming a very important property to recognize even the liquids which can make the angle from the solid surfaces. So by the angle of contact we can have the knowledge of even the classification of liquids that will make some obtuse angle or acute angle. So that will be you can say great information whenever we can predict the meniscus of the liquid. Means if we will put the liquid, if it is making obviously obtuse angle, then that time its meniscus is formed in the case of concave, that time obviously, and sometimes its meniscus is formed at concave, sometimes it is convex. So when it will be concave, when it will be convex, you can define it by angle of contact. So let's see how can we define it first. So before that one, let us consider now sorry student, we are putting a small quantity of liquid on a solid. So it may take a shape of drop or sprayed on the surface of the solid as shown in figure. So here two of the figure we have. In one figure you can see this kind of figure we have. Means whenever you are putting the drop, then it is either it is putting like this one, or it is just sprayed over the surface. Then whenever spreading, it is making this kind of shape there. Now while doing this one, three interfaces, namely liquid air, solid air and solid liquid, these are formed now. So you can see now three interface is formed in this case. So let's see now which of the interface is formed. First, this interface that is touching the liquid and solid, this is solid liquid interface. The second interface that is touching air and solid, so this is solid air interface. And the third one that is touching liquid and the air, so that is solid liquid air interface. So we have three types of interface that is connecting each other's. Then by using that one we can easily understand now the concept of angle of contact. So here angle of contact is what you know by definition you have seen. This is the angle between solid liquid surface and solid air surface. So this is now the angle that is formed here, that is the angle of contact. Now in this case let's see the direction of angle of contact. So this is now again liquid air surface, this is our solid air, this is now solid liquid solid. There's three type of interfaces we have. Now the angle between solid liquid and also solid air. So this angle you will see, that is now the angle of contact in this case. So in one of the case you can see this angle of contact is acute angle, and one it is obtuse angle. So here what is now the SLA, SS, SA and SL. So it is now the surface tensions corresponding to the three interface. So surface tension corresponding to solid liquid interface, surface tension corresponding to liquid air interface, surface tension corresponding to solid air interface. So we can divide the surface tension into three components according to their interfaces now. So we have divided it now. So I think up to now the angle of contact that is clear to you. So let's now discuss the rest of the things along this one. So there are now three types of interfaces and three types of surface tensions we have got now. So if you will now resolve the SLA into two components, then we will get one of the horizontal component and one of the vertical component. So horizontal component will be obviously SLA cos theta and vertical component is SLA sin theta. So here the horizontal component SL cos theta, that will act along the solid surface. This one surface it will act along here, and the SL sin theta, that will act perpendicular to the solid surface. So as the liquid on solid surface is at rest, so therefore all the molecules in liquid in the region where the three interfaces meet are in the equilibrium. So that should be always in equilibrium where three phases are meeting. That is the point where three phases are meeting. This is the point where you can see the three phases are meeting now. So it means that no net force acting on them. So in this case for a molecule, suppose here this is the molecule O we have. So the molecule O, this will be in equilibrium. Then we have now here we can write one of the equations for this one, and that equation will be SSL plus SLA cos theta, that should be equal to this component. So it means here I will write here, this is our first component here, and also this is the direction of SLA cos of theta, that is its horizontal direction. So SLS plus SLA cos theta means now the right hand side forces must be equal to left hand side to keep this point O in equilibrium, or the molecule in equilibrium. So this equation is now I think clear. So whenever this equation is clear, we can calculate now the value of cos theta. So value of cos theta is what? From here that will be SSA minus SLS upon SLA from here. In this case now, if the value of cos theta that will be smaller than 1, then that time we can keep the maximum value of cos theta is equal to 1 here, and also you can see in this case the value of theta that is less than here 90, or also that is smaller than 1. So whenever the cos theta that is smaller than 1, it means that this one is less than 1 here, because cos theta is equal to 1, that is obtained as theta is equal to 0. So whenever theta will be 0, then that time no curved surface we will get. So it means that it cannot be equal to 1, but the minimum value possible value you can say the maximum possible value of theta, that so cos theta is 1. So we can write it, this value always should be less than 1, it cannot be equal to 1 here. So if it is less than 1, then from here you can see this one SSA minus SLS, this will be less than SLA from here, and also if you will solve, then SLA you can SSA, you can see this is equal to SLA plus SLS. Now this is a relationship between three tensions that we are getting, means solid air surface that is less than the sum of solid liquid air surface as the surface tension of solid air or liquid air, or the liquid solid surface. So I think this is now clear from here. So students, for today I think the topics that we have discussed, it is clear. Sorry. So in the next class we will see how can we predict the meniscus by using these informations of cos theta, by using this information and by using this figure. First, today only about the angle of contact, a brief idea about that I have given to you. Also, while angle of contact we are obtaining, how the three interfaces and how the tensor we are obtaining and what is the relationship for that tensors that I have given to you. So later the conclusions we will discuss in next class. So for today students, let's end our class here. Thank you for today.